What is up, guys? I am in a different location over Zoom with my favorite host producer, Michael Z, also known as, or Michael Z, and then Gary V. But I wanted to get on here for a solo episode. I know I've had a few guests, and the last time that I did a solo episode, I shared that I had lost my job, which was about 5 weeks ago, actually 5 weeks ago today, that I lost my job. And I wanted to do just kind of an update on that. I've done a lot of just rest and relaxation. I've had a lot of time on my hands. And with that time, I've done a little bit of travel, but I wanted to start because I have met so many people and I've had so many people reach out to me when I've been traveling, or friends of mine at old companies that have also lost their jobs. So I wanted to take the first part of this episode to just like acknowledge that obviously I'm not the only one that's going through this, but if this is something that you're also going through, you're not alone. And the same thing that I've told everyone that I've talked to is that everything really truly happens for a reason. Whether I know there's a few people that I talked to that were in jobs that they were very unhappy with. So in that position, I think it was a blessing in disguise that you were let go from a job that you were unhappy and was not fulfilling you, to go out and find something that is more fulfilling. On the flip side of that, I was on the side of I really truly enjoyed my job and I loved what I was doing. So I think it was a little bit harder for me and then those other people who loved their work to be let go. But I always say to like, truly everything happens for a reason. So if this is a season that you're going through, recognize that it is just a season of your life. It's not going to be something that is forever. And that kind of leads me to the second point, which is really what I want to talk about today: the importance of just being and using this time away from work or whatever is going on in your life to just rest and relax, which is something that I am not usually the best at unless I'm forced to rest, whether that's physically because of because of an injury, or I'm just not feeling very well. And then in terms of career, for the first time ever, being let go of my job, which is something that I've never experienced before. And so being in that space and just having this time to rest, I feel like a lot has come to me in terms of just understanding really who I want to become and what I want in my next job or in my next role. But I also think, to that same point, there's still a lot of uncertainty because I don't have a job yet. And so the first thing that I wanted to touch on in terms of just R&R and something that I have been doing. So the first week that I got let go, I just like took the time to just be by myself. Like I cried for a little bit. I just let myself have a week. And then after that, I set an intention to just start like getting my resume together, start reaching out to people, start networking. But the most important thing that I've learned is not to force anything. And I know Michael and I talked about this on our last episode of the podcast episode, but you really can't force things in this life. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned in this time, is that what's meant to be will be, no matter if it's something that you desire or not. And I think that's really important to remember, no matter what you're going through, whether it's a job loss or you're going through a breakup or whatever is going on in your life. I think a lot of times we attach to an outcome, we attach to a certain situation that we think is for our highest good, when in reality, there's always something better. And that's quite literally exactly what happened to me. I was very content at my day job. I loved what I was doing. And so when I got let go, I was like, what in the world? Like, I thought this was going to be lead me into entrepreneurship. Like, I thought this was something that I really enjoyed. And then when that happened, it kind of was a wake up call. Like, okay, is this something that you really truly enjoy? And I think that is what space and time alone really gives you, is to better understand yourself. And so that's really what I've been doing. I've been reading a lot, as you all, if you do not follow me on Instagram, go follow me. It's at Pop with Erin. But I've been posting a lot of just books that I've been reading. I talked with Michael a lot. I've talked with a lot of people just about transitions that they've gone through. I've even interviewed like Gabby, who lost her job and then moved into entrepreneurship. So I know that anytime there's a lag in your life or there's space, it's because there's something else energetically that's coming to you. And there's this analogy, and I don't know if anyone else has seen this on Instagram, but it's like the bear. It's, if you're religious, it's like God on the other side or whatever you believe in, but it's basically someone giving this young girl like a bear, and it's like a really small bear, and she's like, but I really really want this, like I want to hold on to this, but really behind his back he has like this huge bear. And I think it's really important to remember that sometimes that thing that we think is amazing and great and is serving us to our highest good at that time is really not. There's something else that's coming your way. And so that's just really what I've been trying to focus on in this time, is truly being and just unplugging from obviously work. I'm not reporting to anyone. Even with the podcast, like I've bulk recorded a few episodes, but even there, like I feel like this space has just given me the time to ask myself, like, is this something that I really truly want to be doing? Is this something that's in alignment or where I want to go? And the podcast has always been that space for me. I feel like, and even my friends have told me this, like, you're the most you when you're on the podcast and when you're behind the microphone, which is something that I felt like I know deep down, but I didn't acknowledge or really grasp around that. I think a little bit was, I don't want to seem like I was egotistical or kind of over the top, being like, oh, yeah, this is something I'm really passionate about and something that I'm naturally talented in. But at the same time, I recognize that if this is where I'm supposed to be and this is something that I am good at, it's not a bad thing to be confident in that and know that deep down and acknowledge that. So a lot. I'm kind of going in circles here, but that's pretty much all I've been doing. I know I shared a little bit too on my stories about my mom who's been sick. So it's also ironic. And I was talking to one of my good friends, Laura, about this too. Like when certain things happen, I got home and then she's been sick and I've just been helping my dad and taking care of my family. So there's always a blessing in this entire situation. And so that's just what I've been focusing on, just switching my mindset to I am grateful to have this time off, which when I did my first solo episode, I was not in that mindset. I was very much in a what in the HE double hockey sticks mindset. So that's what I've been doing. I went to Charleston to see one of my really good friends, which is there I met a few people that had also lost their jobs. And then I went on vacation last week to Hilton Head with my family, which is super nice. So I've just been taking the time to, again, like rest, recharge, which I think everyone needs to do at some times, and really allow yourself and give yourself permission to be still when we live in a world that's always telling us to be productive and move on to the next thing. So that's kind of all. I mean, I feel like I don't have too much of a life update for you all, but the last thing that I wanted to touch on, which I know I've shared a little bit about on, excuse me, on my Instagram stories, is I am going on a yoga retreat. And this is one of those woo-woo things that came into my life, but I have been dying to go on a yoga retreat for, I don't know, probably 2 years. I almost went to one in Greece with one of my friends, Jen, before COVID happened. Like it was in 2020 that we were supposed to go. So thank goodness that did not align. But I would never have gone on this yoga retreat if I had not lost my job, because I would not have been home and been taking class at this yoga studio. So I wanted to share this story just as a little bit of a light and also encouragement that if you're looking for time away or there's something in your life that you're really looking to do, bring that to the forefront of your mind and then start taking action. I know Michael's favorite thing to talk about is manifestation, but I truly believe that if it's for your highest good and it's something that's in alignment with you, it will come into your life and all of the stars will align. So long story, not really long story, but long story short, on the yoga retreat, I came home from obviously losing my job to be with my parents. And on, I think it was like a Tuesday, I was meeting with my financial advisor and I was just telling him about everything that was going on. And he's like, I think you need to take like 4 or 5 days, either in the woods or at the beach, just by yourself, completely unplug from everything, turn off your phone, don't be with anyone, just be with yourself. And I obviously agreed with him. I was like, that sounds amazing. That's something that I would love to do, because I know that when I create that space and when we're away from all of the distractions is when those downloads and that clarity happens. So he said that to me on a Tuesday and I kind of sat on it. And then it was the next day I was texting my friend Jen about yoga retreats. I just had this like weird feeling that I was like, I want to go on a yoga retreat. I don't know where, I don't know who I want to go with or where I want to go. I just want to go on a yoga retreat. This is the perfect time. I have the money. I have the time. Let's just go for it. And so I was texting her back and forth, and she was sending me a few different retreats that were somewhere this year. A lot of them were next year. And then on a Thursday, so texted her on a Wednesday. On a Thursday, I walked into my yoga studio that I go to here, which I absolutely love. I took my favorite instructor's class. And about 30 minutes into the class, I was like, okay, if she says anything about a yoga retreat at the end of this class, then that means that I need to go on this yoga retreat. And so we get to the very end of class. I'm like very zened out. I was not really paying attention, which is not atypical for me. I'm in my own world in yoga. But at the very end, she's like, if anyone wants to go to Tulum, just let me know. There's a few spots left. And I was like, okay, this is definitely a sign from the universe that I need to go on this yoga retreat. So I walked up to her and I was like, hey, what is this yoga retreat? What are all the details? She's like, oh, it's in October. I'm not going to share the dates because I don't want someone to, yeah, for privacy reasons. But so in October, it's 5 days. It's in Mexico. It's super secluded. We have one bedroom available, and then we have two beds available if you have a friend that wants to go. And my friend couldn't go, but I was like, this is just another telltale sign of when you, again, like create the space, and it was something that I really wanted to do, it aligned in my favor. And so I wanted to share that story because I know, again, it's a little bit woo-woo and people will probably be like, okay, Erin, this is a stretch. But at the same time, if there's something in your life that you want and you have the time, you don't have a job, or you're in between jobs, or maybe you're at a job right now that you're just not unhappy with, take the time to be with yourself, turn off social media, put down a book if you're reading it, journal, and just sit and ground yourself, because in that space is where you'll better understand yourself, and you'll also understand what really truly matters to you and how you can get to that next level or up level in your life. And so for me, I knew that a yoga retreat would take me away from all of the chaos and heartache and everything going on at home, and get me into a space where I had the time to just be with myself and create from a place of stillness and of being and not doing. So there'll definitely be a solo episode once I get back from that yoga retreat. I'm sure I'll have some sort of revelation or some sort of creative burst. But that is really all I have for you all today. That's all I've been doing is nothing. A dog mom going on a yoga retreat here in about 2.5 weeks. And then I will be back in Dallas. Obviously, I'm not in the I'm not in the podcast studio today. I'll be back in Dallas next week to recording. So as always, if you all have any questions for me, DM me, any feedback on episodes, anything you want to hear, don't hesitate to reach out. And if you are in a position where you don't have a job, know that you are not alone, and know that this too shall pass. And to end every episode, I got to say what I'm grateful for. I am going to say I'm very grateful for my health. And I'm also grateful that my mom is in good hands where she is at. I think we often overlook our health until it's in jeopardy or something happens. So that is what I am grateful for today. Go follow me on Instagram at Pod with Erin. Leave a rating on Apple Podcast and Spotify, and I will Catch you all next week.